It, no, I don't know, Brian. I mean, I'm sorry you didn't get to go. I'm sorry I didn't get to go. I chose not to go, and I could have, although I didn't have an invitation. But there was this thing yesterday, and whatever day, I don't know. It's probably 3 days ago now. I don't know. Anyway, we've seen the stock go up the first day on Monday, almost 10, well, around 10%. And there was because there was some robo taxis or something that were introduced. It was a
Something.
small event. Uh,
Probably nothing.
I've been referring to it as the most important product or service that's ever been introduced in history. Um, I don't think it didn't get New York Times go to war headlines.
That's unfortunate. Hey, so let's talk about some of the things we've learned since the launch of the Robotaxi. If we're
Yes.
going to call it a
About
Robovin, then it's a Robotaxi. See, Elon, it makes no sense. Anyway, I saw people saying, what a catastrophic disappointment that they launched with the Y instead of the Cybercab. To which someone else responded, no, this is the ultimate flex. Austin can manufacture a car that you can buy, that I can buy, that rolls out of the factory and can just go to work.
Yeah.
That's the same car you're buying. There are no modifications. It's ready to go. That's which means as of today, the Tesla Robotaxi is what, $45,000? And the Waymo is 72,000 base. They're probably not using a base iPace, plus the time to ship it, plus the cost to upfit it, plus the time to ship it back to where it's going. These taxis were made down the street potentially yesterday. If that's not a flex, I don't know what is. That's a big deal. But we also saw we've seen a lot of moving of goalposts. Tesla Q, they're out there just I'll find something new to complain about. If it doesn't make an unprotected left turn, then it's not a real robotaxi. Waymo doesn't make unprotected left turns, but we've seen videos. The robotaxi does.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We've we've seen we've seen it do things that are mildly illegal, but clearly trained on a human who also did that.
Mildly.
NHTSA's opening an investigate. Oh, it's an investigation. That's not a big deal. That's something NHTSA should do. They want to know how it happened, why it happened, what's being done, if anything, to prevent it from happening again, because those are laws. They do exist. And NHTSA famously will make you do stupid things because of the letter of the law. That's why when we come up to a
I, I,
stop sign, we
I,
stop twice.
yeah, I've missed that. What was the illegal thing?
Oh,
The
I'm not sure. I didn't see that part. It might have been a lane change without a blinker.
I see.
My cart did a lane change without a blinker today. And
Yeah.
we all looked at it and said, oh, look at you go. I think you were trained on data of people who did that. Wouldn't surprise me. It wasn't unsafe. Uh, there were cars ahead of us, but not behind us. And we're coming up to a stoplight and it said, I'd rather be in the left lane, just drifted into it.
Uh,
Didn't drift like out of control. It just purposefully
yeah.
moved into the left lane.
Yeah. Without a blinker.
So,
I've never done that.
mm, have you ever told a lie? Because I think this is one of those two guards by the two doors puzzles right here. Um, so there, so it's
Oh boy, the technical difficulties just got more technical.
working. Is it perfect? I don't expect perfection today, but we're seeing do pretty good things in pretty good ways. So Dirty Tesla was in the car when it had emergency lights and got out of the way. Perfect. That's what you wanted to do. Well, it's not a real robo taxi if there's remote operators back at home base. Okay, then robo taxis don't exist in any capacity anywhere. Well, it has to be able to pick you up from the airport. Okay, but Waymo doesn't pick people up in Austin. It will in Phoenix, but not in Austin. So is it sometimes a real? I I can't keep up. The goalposts have been motorized to make them easier to move. I just wish they were powered with electric motors instead.
Yeah. Well, so the big debate today on X, I don't know if we've been able to figure it out or not, was what I call the safety rider, or
The driver,
he's not a driver, he's a
the
safety rider, the
the
safety
bouncer.
the bouncer. Anyway, but he's got his thumb poised over something. And so everybody, Gary Black, I guess, was among them, who said, "Hey, what's going on with his thumb over this device or whatever?" And so there's been a lot of conversation about what he might have been doing. The most recent one was some people think he might have had his thumb over the door opener so that he could make a quick exit. I heard more recently that was the parachute switch. You just hit that and you get ejected out of the roof, and your parachute opens.
Interesting. Is the conspiracy theory that he's somehow driving the car from one button? Because if it is, roll out that technology instead. That's amazing. I don't think they would invent two things at the same time. I saw someone guessing, well, maybe it's a record button. Like, here's an interesting moment that should probably be documented. If they were going to put some kind of just go button, I think they would put it somewhere more inconspicuous. There were FSD videos before the days of hands-free, where some content creators, who I won't name by name because they've got incredibly thin skin and will block you in a second if they find out you mention them, were clearly using cheat devices. Cheat devices that were out of sight, that with cameras all around, you couldn't quite tell where the cheat device was.
Right.
Tesla knows how to hide a button a little better than that, better than putting it on the door, which, by the way, you still need. It still needs to be a door. You still need to be able to open it. So I don't know how you do that if the button does something else. I'm going to chalk that up to, for now, crazy people.
Yes, well, another person was saying that, if you have to listen to these, Tesla, YouTubers and whatnot say the same thing over and over and over again in the backseat of the car, the rider might have just really had his finger on the door, hoping to get away if he could possibly.
Yeah. Well, he might have thought the next rider was going to be me, in which case he would need to get out because everyone's got their limit, Randy. But fortunately, my defeat streak remains undefeated when it comes to getting invited to Tesla.
There you go. So, all right. So now the next question, the next thing everybody's talking about, I put up together a bunch of catalysts that I believe are going to happen with regard to Robotaxi. And I'm thinking that the first catalyst will happen when that rider is eliminated. So how long do you think? I did a poll on that, and most people think he'll be out of there by the end of July, although a large contingent thought he'll be out of there by next Monday. So what do you think?
I think 1 to 3 months is prudent. You broke up a little bit, so I'm pretty sure we're talking about cat lips, but I think that the safety occupant, the bouncer, the security guard will be eliminated. My guess is 1 to 3 months.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty safe of you.
Yeah. Well, we've had like 24 hours of data, and you're asking me to extrapolate. That's an extrapolation I'm safe with.
There you go. You're right. Okay. So then the other thought would be, a lot of people are talking about how many cars were actually out there. I don't know what you've heard, but Brian Wong,
I've heard 35.
That was Brian Wong's number. He was the first to kind of mention that idea. And I did some numbers, and it seemed like that might have been right, but do we know any more? Have you seen anything that would indicate yes or no, or maybe?
There was a graphic up in Mission Control that had some numbers on it.
Yeah.
And one of the numbers didn't fit. It's like, this is how many rides, this is how many miles, and also 35.
Right.
what could that be? Also, you have a minimum number to hit critical mass. Sure, I can drive you guys around, but within this area, if I don't have enough cars, everybody's going to be waiting in an hour and a half, especially when we hit traffic. So I think 35 is not an unreasonable number. I know before the launch, people had counted up to 60 different vehicles. And I had a chance to talk with someone who found a holding lot. It was Josh West. I'll just say that. I think I can say that. Josh West found a holding. Josh West found a holding lot before the event actually happened, and he was able to see dozens of vehicles. So 35 seems very reasonable to me.
Okay.
Even if the evil who first came up with that.
Okay, Brian. So
I'm back.
Yes, you're back now. So I understand that you were one of these people who, when you were a child, you stuttered a lot and you got into acting so that you would get over your stuttering, but it's coming back on my show.
It's only a digital stutter now. And in my childhood, it was actually
It was actually a
figment of your imagination. So that's
a figment of my imagination.
Yeah.
All right. So what else did you see? What else are you thinking about with regard to RoboTaxi that you might
I have a question for you, Randy. Can your car or my car ever go on the network if we don't have a screen in the back? Because I think they need to be able to access information. I think they need to be able to input commands without unbuckling, leaning all the way forward, or shouting at Grok, which isn't in cars yet. I think not having a screen in the back may be a problem for rolling out. Hardware 3 has problems. It's not there's not enough compute, it seems. Elon seems to have acknowledged that. There's no front bumper cam. That's also true on a lot of hardware 4 vehicles, including new Model 3s. But the lack of a rear seat screen may pose a problem in terms of passenger logistics. What do you think?
Well, so what I think is that when I put my car out as a robotaxi, that I am not going to have a safety rider in the passenger seat. So the normal passenger is going to sit in the front seat.
Maybe. But if it's a parent with a small child and no one else, they'll only be in the back.
Oh, you
I assume
they would both go in the back. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that
something to think about. I'd love to hear in the comments what folks at home think about that.
Right. So in that unusual circumstance, and in fact, anytime there was a couple, they might obviously prefer to sit in the back so they can neck, for instance. Brian is just staring at me at this point.
Is that what they're called? Is that what the kids are calling it?
No,
that's the hot new term.
That's what I called it when I was a kid.
I see.
And this crowd is all my age, therefore they'll get it. See.
Yes, that's true.
After I said that the other day, one person who follows me said, "Hey, I'm only 30 and I love your channel."
I mean, they do exist, but we've seen our age demographics in our YouTube statistics, and the older you get, the more you love Brian and Randy.
That's right. 100%. All right. Well, the other thing that people will be looking for, of course, will be more cabs added to the system, and also more geo fencing, the
larger,
extended out. So you want to guess that'll be 1 to 3 months?
Well, all the geographic limitation isn't a technical problem, it's a logistics problem. So I think they could, as long as they're close enough to get back to the charger, which 200-300 miles of range, absolutely. I think as soon as they have the number of the ratio of remote teleoperators, I guess, to vehicles, they'll expand like quickly. I mean, I'm sure the objective is to have a larger coverage area than Waymo within a month or two, is my guess. So yes, 1 to 3 months, Randy Kirk, 1 to 3 months.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, do you have any more thoughts to close us out in terms of what's going to be critical in these first few weeks in the robotaxi world?
I was driving to get coffee with my wife and kids. And as we turned the corner, we watched a car accident. Minor fender bender, bumper ripped off one car, the wheel bent on the other, it couldn't drive. And I said, if one of those had been a Tesla, this would be front page news. Accidents happen, not just every day, but all day, every day. But somehow, if it's a Tesla, even if it's not on FSD, it's front page news. Accidents will happen. FSD accidents, robotaxi accidents. On stage, one of the presenters said in Michigan last weekend, I think it was Dirty Tesla. No, actually, it was an audience member during the Q&A who said, it doesn't need to be 10 times safer. It needs to be 10,000 times, 1,000,000 times before people stop complaining.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the number of road deaths, it's something like 10 a day, every day, all year. No, 100 a day, which means we need to get 1,000,000 times safer to eliminate all those deaths. And once we do, then people will have no choice but to shut up. In the meantime, if it's only 10 times safer, it will look dangerous because it makes the news.
And
so
yet,
that's something I don't know. Yeah.
And yet people still get on elevators.
Yeah, the US at least are quite safe. And the other thing that I was thinking about was on the safety issue. Darn it, I forget what it was. What was it? There was one other thing. I forget now. I forget because I've been on the road for many, many days. Age. It's my. I forgot the word. Age. Did you say?
Well, my brother calls it a terminal disease called AGE. Yeah.
I have what is it? Dummy induced Tourette's. So where I get around people who are really dumb, I'm like, my Tourette's comes out, and it's only then. So
I'm sorry, you got your family in the room with you, huh?
I don't. On my filming days, we get separate rooms.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's expensive, but I have to do it.
I gotcha. All right. Well, let's leave it there. We will pick it up again next week when we have a lot more information, and we'll try to pin you down to more specific projections of future Aza.
I think you'll be able to get better predictions out of me within the next 1 to 3 months.
Yes. Thanks, Brian, for coming on board. Follow him all over the world, all over the country, and also on Future Aza, wherever he may be. And it's been great talking to you.